Say we want to retrieve all of our Performance Max campaigns. Using the Google Ads Query Language, or GAQL, we select the fields we need from the campaign resource and make sure we're only selecting Performance Max campaigns by adding the filter where campaign.advertising-channel-type equals Performance Max. As a primer for those who haven't used reporting in the API before, you can send this query to the Google Ads API in a Google Ads Service.searchstream request. This query selects some basic fields: the campaign name, the resource name, which uniquely identifies the campaign, and the start and end date. There's a number of other fields you might want to select to get information about your campaign, depending on your application logic. For example, you could also select budget, bidding strategy, labels, and status. You can find a full list of fields queryable with the campaign resource by leveraging the Google Ads Query Builder in our developer documentation. In fact, you can use this resource to view all of the fields that are queryable and which fields can be queried with one another for any reporting resource in the API. I highly recommend consulting this tool whenever you're building out a new GAQL query. The tool is located within the Reports tab, where you can also find a complete list of reporting resources. Moving on to our second use case, measuring performance in relation to business goals. This is where we'll start to see some examples of the PMax reporting paradigm shift in practice. You can use the campaign report similar to how you might use it for other campaign types. Plus, we have some new approaches for PMax specifically. A high-level campaign performance report might look like this, where we look at a selection of campaign metrics segmented by date over the last 7 days. Our results consist of a Google Ads row for each Performance Max campaign for each day in the last 7 days. Here's an example of a JSON response from the REST API. We have a Google Ads row object, which contains an object for each component of the query: campaign, metrics, and segments. Note there are a couple of changes from our first query now that we've added in the segments.date field. One is that our results are broken up across multiple rows, one for each date. Another is that our results will exclude any rows for which the selected metrics are all 0. For example, suppose my campaign had no impressions, clicks, conversions, or cost for July 9th, 2024. Because all of the selected metrics are 0, this row won't be returned at all. Rows where any of the selected metrics are non-zero will be returned. Returning to our query, I've added a few fields. The conversions metrics you want to retrieve might depend on which bidding strategy you've decided to use. If you're using maximize conversions because you aren't tracking values and you care about all of your conversions equally, then the more relevant conversion metric is conversions. If instead you're using maximize conversion value and tracking values with your conversions, the more relevant metric is conversions value.